Welcome to another episode of Extreme Expat Stories of Thailand. Listen, I need to tell you this story before it's too late for someone else. My name doesn't matter anymore. Let's just say I'm another broken farang who learned the hard way that paradise has teeth. I'm writing this from a cheap hostel in Bangkok, nursing wounds that go way deeper than the 5 stitches across my forehead. In 3 days, I'm flying back to America with $347 to my name, no job, no dignity, and a collection of scars that'll remind me forever. Thailand can chew you up and spit you out faster than you can say, "my pen rai." 6 months ago, I was a different person. I was 52, sitting in a gray cubicle in suburban Ohio, pushing papers for an insurance company, watching my life tick by in fluorescent lighting. Divorced, kids grown, no real reason to stay. Then I saw it. A YouTube video of a guy riding a scooter through Bangkok at sunset. The city lit up like a carnival. Street food sizzling on every corner. Beautiful smiles everywhere. The comments were all the same. Best decision I ever made. Living the dream for 1,000 a month. Why didn't I do this sooner? So I did. I cashed out my 401k early, took the tax hit, and bought a one-way ticket to Bangkok with $45,000 in my bank account. I figured that was enough to start fresh, maybe even retire early. I'd seen the videos, read the blogs, joined the Facebook groups. Everyone said the same thing. Thailand is easy. Thailand is cheap. Thailand is paradise. They weren't wrong. They just didn't tell me the whole story. I landed at Suvarnabhumi airport in a humid March morning, and the heat hit me like opening an oven door. But it wasn't unpleasant. It felt alive, electric. I took a taxi into the city, watching the skyline rise up through the haze, and I remember thinking, this is it. This is where I start over. I found a decent studio condo near Ekamai for 15,000 baht a month, about $420. It had a pool, a gym, and a balcony overlooking the chaos of Bangkok. Perfect. I bought a used Honda Click scooter for 25,000 baht from another expat who was heading home. I downloaded Grab, got a Thai SIM card, and started exploring. Those first few weeks were intoxicating. I'd wake up early, ride to a temple to watch the monks collect alms, then grab pat krapao from a street cart for 50 baht. I'd spend afternoons working on my laptop at coffee shops, pretending I was a digital nomad even though I had no income. Evenings meant night markets, rooftop bars, conversations with other expats who had all the same gleam in their eyes. We'd escaped. We were the smart ones who figured it out. I met people from everywhere. A 65-year-old Australian who'd been here 20 years. A British guy running an online marketing business. A Canadian who taught English for $15 an hour and somehow lived like a king. They all had advice, war stories, and warnings. One night at a bar in Ponglor, an older American expat, must have been 70, looked like he'd been pickled in Leo beer, grabbed my shoulder and said something I'll never forget. Kid, rule number one. If you wouldn't do it back home, don't do it here. I don't care how different it seems. That's how they get you. I laughed it off. I thought I was too smart for that. I'd read the forums, seen the scam warnings, knew about the bar girls and the tea money and all that. I wasn't some naive tourist. I was an intelligent, worldly guy making a calculated life change. God, I was an idiot. I met her at a night market in Chatuchak. Her name was Arune, A for short, and she was absolutely beautiful. Not bar girl beautiful, but real beautiful. She was 38, worked in marketing at a Thai company, spoke perfect English, dressed conservatively. We started talking over som tam and sticky rice, and she laughed at my terrible Thai pronunciation. She was charming, educated, and seemed genuinely interested in me as a person, not as a walking ATM. We started dating, real dating. She wouldn't let me pay for everything, insisted on going Dutch sometimes, introduced me to her friends. We'd explore temples on weekends, take trips to Ayutthaya, cook together at my place. For the first time in years, I felt alive. I felt wanted. I felt like maybe this crazy decision to move to Thailand was the best thing I'd ever done. Her friends were lovely. One of them, a guy named Somchai, even pulled me aside one night and said, "Take care of Ah. She's a good woman. She's had bad luck with men." I promised I would. I meant it. 3 months in, Ah asked me to meet her family in Korat. It was a big deal. We took the bus up north, and I met her mother, her two sisters, her nephews. They lived modestly, a small house, chickens in the yard, the kind of real Thailand that tourists never see. I brought gifts, tried my best Thai, and her mother seemed to like me. They killed a chicken in my honor. Her sister's husband got me drunk on Lao Cow and taught me dirty Thai words. I felt like I was being accepted into something real. On the bus ride back, Ah was quiet. Finally, she said, "My mother asked me when we're getting married." I didn't answer right away, but something in my chest felt warm. Maybe this was it. Maybe this was the life I was supposed to have all along. That's when things started to change. It started small. A week after we got back from Korat, Ah asked to borrow 20,000 baht, about 550 US dollars. Her nephew needed to pay school fees, she said, and her sister was short this month. I wanted to be the hero, the generous Farang who helps the family. I gave her the cash. She promised to pay me back in 2 weeks when she got her salary. 2 weeks later, I mentioned it. She looked hurt. "You're counting money with me? Like I'm some kind of bar girl?" She didn't shout, but her voice had an edge I'd never heard before. I immediately felt like a cheap bastard. I apologized. She accepted, but something had shifted. A month later, she asked for 50,000 baht. Her cousin, the one I'd met in Korat, she said, was opening a small restaurant and needed investors. It was a sure thing, she promised. He'd pay me back with 40% interest in 6 months. I hesitated. Back home, I would have laughed at such an offer, but here, surrounded by success stories of expats who'd invested in Thai businesses and made bank, it seemed reasonable. Different rules, right? I transferred the money. When I asked for a receipt or a contract, Ah looked at me like I'd slapped her. "You don't trust me?" Again, I felt like the bad guy. Again, I backed down. The cousin's restaurant never materialized. When I asked about it, Ah got angry. He had bad luck, had to pay debt first. "It's not my fault. Why you always worry about money?" That's when I noticed my bank account was draining faster than it should. I was living modestly, street food, no fancy stuff, but somehow I was burning through $3,000 a month. Ah had started staying over more, not working as much. She said her company was cutting hours. I believed her. I wanted to believe her. One evening, I couldn't find my ATM card. I asked Ah if she'd seen it. She got defensive immediately. "Why are you asking me? You think I'm a thief?" We had our first real fight. She stormed out, slamming the door so hard my neighbor came over to check if everything was okay. I found the card later that night, in her purse, which she'd left behind. When I checked my account online, my heart stopped. 80,000 baht was gone, withdrawn over 3 days from ATMs all over Bangkok. I sat there, staring at the screen, feeling something die inside me. Ah came back the next morning with tears in her eyes. Her mother was sick, she said. She needed surgery. Ah had panicked and taken the money, planning to tell me, but was too scared. She begged for forgiveness, said she'd paid back, said she loved me. She knew my PIN because I'd let her use the card once to buy groceries. Told her the number without thinking. I wanted to throw her out, but she was crying, clutching my shirt, promising it would never happen again. And part of me, the pathetic part, thought, this is what love is. It's messy. It's about forgiveness. I told her it was okay. We'd work through it. She smiled through her tears and held me tight. That was my biggest mistake. Over the next 6 weeks, my life became unrecognizable. Ah moved in fully, saying her landlord kicked her out. Her friends started showing up at odd hours. Thai guys with expensive watches and shifty eyes who'd talk in rapid Thai while looking at me sideways. When I asked who they were, Ah said they were cousins. Thailand has a lot of cousins, apparently. My money kept vanishing. Ah had a dozen excuses. Her sister's baby was sick. Her brother was arrested and needed bail money. Her family's water buffalo died and they needed a new one. Each story came with tears and urgency. Each time, I felt like refusing would make me the villain. I'd hand over 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 baht, watching my savings evaporate. I started selling things. My laptop, my nice camera, the gold chain I'd bought myself as a fresh start gift. I told myself it was temporary. Ah would get a job soon. Her family would pay me back. Things would stabilize. They didn't. One morning I woke up to find Ah screaming at someone on the phone in Thai. When she hung up, she looked at me with cold eyes and said, "We need to talk about the condo." Turns out, she'd sweet-talked to my landlord into putting the lease in her name, saying it would be easier for rent payments since I wasn't working. I hadn't signed anything, but somehow it was done. And now she was saying she wanted me to move out. "It's not working," she said flatly. "You have no money. What you can do for me?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This woman I'd loved, helped, trusted, she was evicting me from my own apartment. "Where am I supposed to go?" I asked. She shrugged. "Not my problem. Go home, Farang." The next day, I came back to find my lock changed. The building security wouldn't let me in. "Miss A say you no live here now," the guard said, looking embarrassed for me. My clothes, my passport, everything was in that room. I had to beg. I had to call the tourist police, who showed up and negotiated with Ah through the door. Finally, she threw my suitcase and passport into the hallway. Half my stuff was missing, including a $5,000 Rolex I'd inherited from my father. When I mentioned it, she laughed. Actually laughed. "You have proof? Show me a receipt. Otherwise, I don't know what you're talking about." The police looked at me with pity. They'd seen this before. The older cop said in broken English, "Next time, no give Thai girlfriend so much trust. Sorry, sir." I walked out of that building with one suitcase, $3,200 left in my account, and no place to go. I found a hostel in Khao San Road for 400 baht a night. It was backpacker central, 20-year-olds getting drunk and vomiting in the streets, thumping bass until 4 a.m., the smell of pad thai and piss mixing in the humid air. I was a 52-year-old man sleeping in a bunk bed, showering in a moldy stall, eating 7-Eleven sandwiches for dinner. This wasn't the dream. This was a nightmare. I tried to think rationally. I could get an English teaching job, but those required degrees and certification I didn't have. I could go home, but to what? I'd burn bridges, quit my job, cashed out my retirement. I'd have to crash on my ex-wife's couch and admit total defeat. I started drinking. Not proud of it, but I did. Cheap Chang beer, sometimes whiskey if I wanted to really forget. I'd sit in bars along Khao San Road, surrounded by kids half my age living their adventure, while I drowned in mine. One night, blind drunk, I decided to message Ah. I don't remember exactly what I wrote, but I was angry and desperate and pathetic. She responded immediately. "You threatened me? I called police. You never contact me again or I say you hit me. That sobered me up fast. One accusation and I'd be done. Thai jails aren't kind to foreigners, and domestic abuse charges don't require much proof. I needed to get away from Bangkok, clear my head, figure out my next move. A guy at the hostel mentioned that Phuket was nice this time of year, less crowded. I had just enough money for a bus ticket and a few nights in a cheap guest house. Maybe the beach would help me think. Maybe I could still salvage this. I arrived in Phuket on a Tuesday afternoon, found a guest house near Patong Beach for 500 baht a night. Nothing special, but clean enough. I borrowed a beat up scooter from the guest house owner for 200 baht a day. I just wanted to ride, feel the wind, pretend I was okay. For 3 days, I did nothing but ride around the island. Kata Beach, Karon, up to the Big Buddha, down to Rawai. The sunset from Promtep Cape actually made me tear up. It was so beautiful, and I was so broken. I thought about my kids back home, about the life I'd thrown away, about how spectacularly I'd failed. On Thursday night, September 28th, I'll never forget the date, I decided to ride up to Layan Beach. It's quieter up there, less touristy. It had rained earlier and the roads were slick, but I didn't care. I wasn't thinking clearly. I hadn't been thinking clearly for months. I was heading back south on the coast road around 10 p.m. Traffic was light. My headlight was weak. The scooter was old, but I could see well enough, or so I thought. Out of nowhere, there was a massive impact from behind. My rear wheel exploded, and I went flying off the bike, hitting the wet asphalt hard. My helmet cracked against the pavement. Everything was spinning, ringing, pain everywhere. Before I could even process what happened, 2 men were on me, masked, moving fast. One had a knife. I saw the blade flash in the streetlight. The other grabbed my wrist and ripped off my watch. Not the Rolex. I had stolen that. But a decent Seiko I'd bought in Bangkok, worth maybe $300. Money, money, one of them shouted in Thai accented English. I tried to fight back, but I was dazed from the crash. They rifled through my pockets, took my wallet with my remaining cash, about 8,000 baht, and my phone. The whole thing lasted maybe 45 seconds. Then they ran to their vehicle, a blue Ford Ranger that had deliberately rammed me, and sped off in the night. I lay there in the rain, bleeding from my head and hands, my scooter destroyed, completely alone. A car drove past without stopping, then another. Finally, a Thai family stopped. The father helped me up, talking rapidly in Thai I couldn't understand. His wife called an ambulance. Their kids stared at me from the back seat, wide-eyed and scared. At the hospital, they cleaned me up, gave me 5 stitches above my left eye, x-rayed my ribs and wrist. Nothing broken, just bruised to hell. The bill came to 12,000 baht. I had exactly 500 baht left after the robbery. The hospital staff looked at me with a mixture of pity and annoyance. I called the one expat friend I still had in Bangkok, a guy named Mike I'd met early on. He wired me 15,000 baht, no questions asked, told me to pay him back whenever. That kindness made me cry more than the robbery had. The police came to take my statement. They were professional, but uninterested. This happened all the time, they said. Thieves target lone foreigners on scooters. They'd file a report, but I shouldn't expect much. Did I have insurance? No. Did I get the license plate? No. Did I see their faces? No. You be more careful next time, the officer said. Don't ride alone at night. Don't wear expensive things. Don't look like easy target. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell him that I hadn't asked to be rammed off the road and robbed at knife point. But I just nodded because he was right. I've been an easy target from the moment I stepped off that plane 6 months ago. Lying in that hospital bed, stitched and broken, I finally had clarity. This wasn't bad luck. This wasn't Thailand being cruel. This was consequences. This was reality catching up to someone who'd ignored every red flag, broken every rule, and thought he was special enough to be exempt from common sense. I thought about all the warnings I'd dismissed. The old American in the bar who told me, if you wouldn't do it at home, don't do it here. I'd given my PIN. Would have done that in Ohio? Never. The forum posts about Farangs who gave Thai girlfriends control of their finances and ended up broke. I'd read them and thought, my situation is different. It wasn't. The news stories I'd laughed at. The Dutch guy who got so angry at his Thai wife that he literally stole an ATM machine and drove off with it in a pickup truck. The British tourist in Pattaya doing wheelies on an electric bike, crashing into a Thai woman, critically injuring her, then blaming her and getting chased by an angry mob. The American dirt biker in Chiang Mai who killed a pedestrian while speeding and had to beg forgiveness from the family. I'd thought those guys were idiots. Turned out, I was one of them. Just another Farang who came to Thailand thinking the rules didn't apply, that love was enough, that paradise was real. The next morning, I checked my bank account on the hospital Wi-Fi. I had $890 left in my American account and 2,500 baht in my Thai account. That was it. 6 months and $45,000 later. That's what I had to show for my adventure. I bought the cheapest flight home I could find, $847, leaving in 5 days. I'd have $43 left when I landed in Los Angeles. I'm writing this from the same Khao San Road hostel where I stayed before Phuket. Mike, bless him, let me crash at his place for 2 nights. But I couldn't impose more than that. These final days of Bangkok have been a strange mix of mourning and relief. I walked the same streets I walked 6 months ago with such hope. I passed the temple where I first saw the monks collecting alms, thinking I'd discovered something profound. I see the street food vendor where I bought pat krapao every morning, feeling so clever for living like a local. I look at other fresh-faced expats getting off the airport bus, eyes wide with possibility, and I want to shake them. I want to tell them everything, but I don't. They wouldn't listen. I wouldn't have either. Yesterday, I went to Wat Arun at sunset one last time. It was just as beautiful as I remember. The golden spires glowing in the light, the river flowing by, the sounds of the city fading into something almost peaceful. I sat there for an hour, watching tourists take selfies and Thai families make offerings. Thailand isn't evil. Thailand is just Thailand. It's the same place it's always been. I'm the one who came here with fantasies, ignored reality and paid the price. I learned some hard truths. Trust but verify. Love doesn't mean giving someone your entire financial life. Healthy relationships have boundaries everywhere, including Thailand. If you wouldn't do it at home, don't do it here. This rule exists for a reason. The context might be different, but wisdom is universal. Paradise is expensive. The $1,000 a month lifestyle is possible, but only if you live like you have $1,000 a month. Not like you have $45,000 to burn through a romance and bad decisions. You're not special. Every expat thinks their situation is different. Their Thai partner is different. Their experience will be different. Statistics don't care about your feelings. Scams work because they don't look like scams. Ah wasn't a bar girl. She was educated, had a job, seemed genuine. That's what made it work. The best cons never look like cons. I also learned that Thailand has good people. Mike, who wired me money when I was broken and bleeding. The Thai family who stopped to help me after the robbery. The noodle vendor near my old condo who always threw in extra pork because she said I looked too skinny. The massage lady who gave me advice about relationships that I ignored. They're all here, being decent humans, while people like me write cautionary tales about the country they love. If you're reading this and thinking about moving to Thailand, do it. It's an amazing country with incredible culture, kind people, and opportunities for adventure. But go in with your eyes open. Keep your money separate. No joint accounts, no giving out pins, no lending large sums without contracts. Romance and finance should be separate conversations. Don't make life changing decisions in the first year. Don't buy property together. Don't start businesses together. Don't get married. Give it time. If it's real, it'll still be real in 12 months. Have an exit strategy. Keep enough money to fly home. Keep your connections back home alive. Don't burn every bridge like I did. The rules apply to you. You're not exempt from statistics because you're a nice guy or because your situation feels unique. Everyone's situation feels unique. Watch the red flags. If your partner asks for money repeatedly, controls your living situation, isolates you from other expats, or makes you feel guilty for having boundaries, get out. These aren't cultural differences. These are manipulation techniques that work in any language. And most importantly, if you wouldn't do it at home, don't do it here. Tomorrow, I'm selling my suitcase to a backpacker for 500 baht. I'm going home with a backpack, my passport, and my shame. My ex-wife agreed to let me stay in her garage apartment for a month while I figure things out. My son said he'd help me find a job. I'm 52 years old, starting from zero, with a scar above my eye and a story that'll make people shake their heads. But I'm alive, and I'm wiser, and maybe that's worth something. Tonight, I'm going to get one last bowl of boat noodles from the vendor on Sukhumvit, ride the BTS to Safan Taksin, and watch the river one more time. Not because I hate Thailand, I don't. I actually still love parts of it, which makes this hurt worse. I'm leaving because I finally understand. This was never about Thailand being bad or good. It's about me making terrible choices in a place where terrible choices have real consequences. To everyone who helped me along the way, thank you. To everyone I disappointed, I'm sorry. To everyone thinking about following the same path, learn from me. Don't be me. And to wherever you are, I hope you're happy. I genuinely do. You taught me an expensive lesson about trust, about love, about self-respect. I wish I'd learned it another way, but here we are. The plane home leaves at 2 p.m. on Monday. By Tuesday morning, I'll be back in America, broke and humbled, ready to rebuild. This chapter is over. Thailand didn't destroy my life. I destroyed my life. Thailand just watched. Safe travels, smart choices, trust your instincts, and remember, if you wouldn't do it at home, don't do it here.